Long story short, dating men like that, dating men who see beauty and image and love, the exchange of love in partnership like that, dating someone who views it the way that your friend just exposed that he does is self-harm. Deadass, it is self-harm.
Dude, where are you? Pick up your phone. I'm going to a summer party tonight, and you're obviously invited, so call me back. Okay, love you. Bye.
What's up, you guys, and welcome back to Emotionally Online, the weekly summer party for spilling guts and sharing secrets, hosted by yours truly, the one and only Maddie Drossbeck, co-hosted by Miss Mango, the gooey girl, who I'm convinced she is aware that when she climbs all over me when I'm filming, she runs the risk of like wiping my memory entirely. Because really, when she starts climbing all over me like that while I'm trying to talk, I get so overstimulated and I stop. Like, my brain stops working, and I'm convinced that she knows that, and she's trying to get me to stop doing what I'm doing and just pay her attention instead. I'm convinced she knows that. She's very smart, and I just feel like, yeah, I get that you want to wear me as a jacket. I understand. You want us to be intertwined at all times, but I have things to do, Mango. I have things to do. One of which being streaming Abracadabra. Let's fucking go, people. How lucky are we to be alive to witness the greatness of Lady Gaga? Like, it's actually fucking unprecedented, and I don't see enough of you talking about it. I have never been happier. I literally, every time Gaga releases new music, I enter a new era myself. Every time Gaga issues in a new era, it's like she is also issuing me into the next era of my life. And I am just infinitely happier. I am infinitely happier. I just get boosted up. Oh my God, I'm on a plane of existence some of y'all bitches will never know, okay? I'm transcending dimensions right now. And it's unbelievable. Mayhem is coming out March 7th. It's going to be the perfect 28th birthday gift to me because I turned 28 on March 5th. It is a Wednesday this year. So I will be in a state of bliss, okay? That whole week. It's going to be fucking awesome. We're bringing back the birthday week this year in a major way. In a major, major way, I am bringing back the birthday week in honor of me turning 28 and Mayhem coming out in a matter of days from each other. What the fuck? That's gotta mean something, people. Disease, loved it. Abracadabra, love it. Maybe even a little bit more. I am obsessed with it. And I wasn't even watching the Grammys, but I knew that Gaga was going to release something during the commercials because they were talking about it on the Lady Gaga subreddit a few days before. But I was watching movies and just was keeping my eye on the Lady Gaga subreddit so that I knew when it was time for me to lock the fuck in. So obviously the second I saw on the subreddit that it was time to lock in, I locked the fuck in, and I've not locked out ever since, okay? I have been locked the fuck in since that moment happened. Constant streams, rewatching the music video over and over and over again to see Lady Gaga being fucking weird again and having insane choreography. Oh, this is what I wanted. I wanted to be transported back to the time in life where Gaga would release a music video and then I would spend the next several days trying to teach myself her choreography. Like, we are so back. Like, it cannot be understated how fucking back we are. We are so fucking back in a major way. Tell everyone you know. This is unprecedented, and I fucking mean it. So I'm feeling great because of that. Spirits are high. Vibes are good this week. So we're going to take them when we can get them. Lady Gaga released new music. Thank God. Thank God she did, because we needed it and the vibes have been reset. So everyone, please rejoice. I've been deep in Reddit recently for many reasons. Number 1, for Lady Gaga. Number 2, for the Oscars. And number 3, for Love Island, which obviously I'm not talking about Love Island this season on the podcast because truly I just wanted to enjoy myself. I think sometimes doing the Love Island recaps on the pod, like I have to be locked in to every episode and taking notes during every single episode when I do those things. And to be honest, I didn't want to anymore. I didn't want to take notes during the episodes. I just wanted to enjoy my favorite television program. So I have seen the messages and comments from people being like, where are the Love Island recaps? I'm so sorry. I'm not going to do them this year. I know. I'm sorry. I want to enjoy my show, really. I just want to enjoy my program freely. But if you join the Lover Girls Discord, there is a room where we talk about Love Island UK, and I'm very plugged in over on there because I do love talking about Love Island, but doing all the planning and the editing of the photos, it really is a whole task, and I just don't feel like doing it anymore. So I'm not going to. But anyways, the point of me bringing this up was to say that I have been deep on Reddit these past couple weeks. And I already held this opinion about many Reddit users, but some of you are deeply fucking weird. And I feel we should say it more often. Like, there is a difference between being someone who loves a little bit of drama and hot goss, okay? Guilty, all right? I am nothing if I am not a lover of a little pop culture drama, hot celebrity gossip, you know, the going-ons, internet culture, all these things, reality TV, the nonsense, the meaningless bullshit drama that literally impacts no one and nothing. I love this shit too. It's a great way to unplug my brain, to focus on this shit that doesn't matter at all whatsoever. I've always loved pop culture and the drama and, you know, the juice and tea behind it all. Completely. To me, there is a huge, monumental difference between being a lover of a little bit of drama and being a snarker. If you are on Snark Reddit, you literally need to be lobotomized. I'm not fucking kidding. You guys are completely gone. The way that people behave on those snark subreddits is actually bananas. And it's extra bananas because they seem to be blissfully unaware of the fact that they have lost the plot entirely. It is so fucking weird. It is so fucking weird to dedicate your spare time to being a hater to that degree, right? A lover of drama is one thing. A snarker is a totally different ballgame. You need therapy stat, okay? I need you to screenshot the shit you've been writing and show it to your therapist and see what they say about it because you are unwell. It's just crazy the lengths people take it. You could just be a normal consumer of pop culture and reality TV drama, but instead you take it to like places unknown. And the Love Island subreddit is usually pretty tame for the most part, just people discussing the show. But sometimes people get a little cuckoo bananas on that shit, okay? And then I feel like a lot of times because of the subreddits that I am viewing, snark subreddits will get pushed to me. So even if like the main Love Island subreddit is behaving fine, I'll get pushed other subreddits that are like related topics of people behaving way fucking worse. It's just like unbelievable to me that these people get online and they feel so like self-righteous and holier than thou that they will go on the internet and talk about people that they do not fucking know and say the nastiest, unthinkable shit and then log off and be like, and I am so smart and really have my finger on the pulse with this one. Like, get a fucking hobby. And again, this is coming from someone who is pro indulging in a little bit of drama and a little bit of goss, okay? I'm not going to act holier than thou and act like I'm so far above that. I think that's stupid. None of us are above that. We all love a little bit of goss, okay? You can't deny it. You can't deny it, and if you do, I think you're lying. There's a line, though. There's a line where you start to be like a fucking freak about it. And really, I just think that we should be shaming people more loudly that are fucking freaks about it. You know, like it's one thing to go talk on a Love Island subreddit about how fucking crazy the Ekin and Curtis situation has been. and like how bananas those scenes were of them fighting and then all of a sudden they're making out, and it was like, whoa, was it just the edit that made it look that weird, or was it actually that fucking weird? And then you see all the other cast members like, the last 10 minutes of my life were the weirdest I've ever experienced. And I'm like, no, okay, it was just like that. It just was that weird of an interaction. It's one thing to go on those subreddits and be like, this is bananas, and like such good television, and Ekin and Curtis are acting like 16-year-old theater kids that believe their life is a movie, and it's fucking awesome. And this is terrifying, and I was terrified by the heart rate challenge. I was shielding my eyes. It is bananas the way they're behaving on television, okay? I am enthralled, and I am impressed, and I am amazed, and it is crazy, and I want to talk about it. And also, it's such good TV, and I'm so glad it's happening. I love talking about Love Island. It's one thing to go on those subreddits and be like, we need to talk about how crazy this was. And another thing to go on that subreddit trying to like psychoanalyze Ekin and Curtis and offering like really nasty, baseless critiques on who they are as human beings, which you don't know them, by the way, if any of you needed a reminder. To make assumptions about their personal lives, their families, their friends, all because you didn't like how some scene played out in Love Island, or you think they're really weird and cringe or whatever it is. You are bothered by some part of them, and you go beyond just like the, oh my God, this is crazy, let's talk about it, you guys. And you go to like digging into them and like spinning these narratives that you're just cooking up in real time that are super like unempathetic and just nasty for no fucking reason. You are weird. Like, you are actually so weird in a really bad way, okay? Because I love weird people, and you are weird in a bad way. But you see it all the time in subreddits like that. Like, the snarkers are getting out of control. Out of control. And also, I think often a lot of people in these subreddits, particularly when we're talking about like major celebrities or people that are super in the public eye, not like Love Island reality TV stars, but like think of any major celebrity. Some article about them comes out, some piece of gossip. I think we've seen it a lot with like Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo in the last year specifically, where people will say something about them. There'll be an article that comes out, a TikTok will go viral about it, and people won't, it will be like completely lacking of any nuance whatsoever. And people actually just take all of it as being fact. They watch like a 25-second critical TikTok about a major celebrity and they just adopt it as being like a truth about this person's character. Now, I don't fucking know her. I can't confirm nor deny if any of these hypotheses about Ariana Grande are correct or not. However, I think it's really weird how people will see like a 25-second TikTok of someone being like, this person is bad, they're a piece of shit, and XYZ about them, and here's this gossip story, this headline that's big right now, and so that's it. And then they'll be in the comment section of Ariana Grande fans being like, how could you support her? How could you whatever? And they're basing that opinion solely off of this like 25-second TikTok that they saw. And maybe the next time Ariana puts out music, these same people go to these snark subreddits without even listening to the album and will be like, this album sucks, it's terrible, I'm not even listening to it because she's a piece of shit and I fucking hate her. And it's like these people that just they become so dedicated to being a fucking hater. It is very weird. Even if all of the negative headlines about Ariana, and this, I'm just using Ariana as like a random example of someone I've seen this happen to in recent memory, but I feel like this happens a lot with like every celebrity ever. Even if all of the criticism about Ariana Grande is true, number one, that doesn't mean that you know her or that you are the expert on like her morality as a person. Number two, it doesn't mean that she can't change or be different or learn or grow. And number three, it doesn't mean that you are somehow absolved of how deeply fucking weird it is to dedicate your time to being a hater towards every single thing she does, regardless of if you actually have an opinion about that thing or not. You didn't even listen to the album. How do you know if it sucks or not? You don't care. You just hate her. And you've committed yourself to taking up residence in these snark subreddits where people just spew out, vomit up the same nonsense to each other, rile each other up, and half of it is not even based in truth. It is really weird. It is really fucking weird. And obviously there are snark reddits for every celebrity under the sun. I was just using Ariana as a random example. I have no personal opinion on that. I don't know enough about it. I'm not saying that she is good or not good. It was merely an example, okay? Point being that snark subreddits are actually fucking deranged. People that use them and comment on them and consume them are deranged. Like, even when one of those snark posts gets pushed onto my Reddit feed, like, I read it and I feel such a sense of dread inside my stomach. Like, I actually don't want to know what type of person that you would have to be to consume such nasty content all the time and be totally cool with it. You know? And that's coming from someone that appreciates a little bit of drama, you know? And also, I think that you should be able to criticize celebrities. However, you should have information to be able to back that up, you know? And also, I think there's a normal person way to talk about it. Like, when the Ariana Grande and SpongeBob shit was happening and his ex-wife put out that article, I think if you wanted to have a discussion about the article that his ex-wife wrote and like the emotional impact and like, you know, if you wanted to approach it in like a commentary kind of way, as I'm sure there are many commentary YouTubers that did talk about this very topic, I think that's great. There's a way to talk about it with nuance without being like, and she's evil and she's a bad person and she's irredeemable and you're a bad person if you like her music. Like, some people have lost the plot. And nuance is dead, and yeah, people want you to be all good or all bad, and it's really weird. So anyways, that's been on my mind a lot this week because I've been deep in so many different Reddits for Gaga, for the Oscars, for Love Island, and I feel like more and more posts from snark Reddits are being pushed to the tops of my feeds, and I think these people are bizarre, deeply. How strange. Also, this is sort of a side note, but I think that like there's something to be said about how our like collective shrinking attention span with the increase in popularity of short form content, TikTok, things like that. I think that there's something to be said about how people's lack of an attention span contributes to them being radicalized and contributes to how politicians like Donald Trump are able to brainwash this many people. And maybe that seems weird for me to connect that to snark Reddit, but to me it does connect, because I feel like in order to be a person who likes to engage with snark subreddits, I feel like you have to be someone that really doesn't want to engage in any kind of nuance, and you are going to believe things. The first thing that's in front of your face, you're going to take it at face value and just believe it and buy into it. And then you're like ready to, I don't know, engage with passion and be a full-time employed hater for no fucking reason off of like a 20-second TikTok. If you're the type of person that is susceptible to that, you're that allergic to nuance, you are like a perfect recruitment for these conservative grifters who just want people that are fucking brainless that they can rile up and then indoctrinate. Not to make everything go back to my critique on short form, I just think that people's shrinking attention spans have much deeper and more painful consequences than we even know. So if you feel your attention span shrinking, I would fight like hell to expand that bitch. And if you're on snark Reddit, that's a red flag, my friend. Get off that right now. It is not doing good things to your brain. All right, audience submissions. Let's crack open this box. Hola, Maddie. I'm currently re-listening to I Know What You Did With My Boyfriend, episode 71, and I'm on the part of the episode where you're talking about feeling fetishized as a fat woman. I myself am a fat lover girly, and like you, turning 28 in March. Unlike you, I have very low self-confidence. I can act confident and pretend to be okay when I'm belittled and judged by fatphobic asswipes, but on the inside, my heart is soft. The most recent situation I was in, a man who I thought was a friend told me in short that I have to lose weight to date. He also went on to tell me that I needed a glow up and asked the question, would I rather have a man who accepted me the way I am or one that would date me when I'm skinny? The answer to that seems obvious. With heavy negative connotations on a man accepting me as I am. Oh, I need a gun. I was honestly stunned by this whole conversation because, as always, I didn't fucking ask, nor did I bring up my weight. We were exclusively talking about dating. He had to, of course, add that he preferred healthy girls and compared my fatness to smoking and how he wouldn't want to be dating someone like that. Hello? He proceeded to say he would help me lose weight and I could start now, all while he removed my bowl of food from in front of me. I was gobsmacked. Me too. What the hell? I was so in shock, but luckily my bestie was there and defended me and took my food back. I was silent the rest of the night, and when we parted ways, my friend pulled me aside so I can vent and get it off my chest. She reassured me, of course, that everything he said was wrong. Herself being skinny, she has never been around men who speak like that and has never witnessed it. So in the moment, she was also stunned by the shit he spewed. Now, I don't care about how he perceived me, nor do I think anything he said was right, but that shitty voice in my head was validated by the things that he said. That voice that says you'll never date while you're fat, men don't think you're sexy, they think you're available and insecure enough to fuck them, and plenty more messed up things. I've done so much work in therapy, so I immediately picked up on my urge to cope with unhealthy habits like binge eating. I acknowledged those feelings, but didn't let them become reality. Although I know he was wrong, I've always felt and have been treated in the ways that would validate those ugly thoughts I have about myself. I've never been in a relationship, never been kissed by a man that I wanted to kiss, never been treated tenderly. Is it wrong to want a guy to tell me I'm pretty and lovable and to treat me accordingly? This often feels like I'm sleeping with my biggest nemesis. So, oh my God, I believe that this man needs to have some spells cast on his ass or something because, what the fuck? I'm glad that you also seem to be well aware of how totally unacceptable that is to speak to another living, breathing human person in that way, let alone someone that's supposed to be your friend. I'm so glad that you're aware that that's fucking bananas, cuckoo, crazy bonks. 'Cause it is. And I'm also so relieved to hear that you had a friend with you that stood up for you in that moment and that comforted you in the immediate aftermath and let you vent and called out directly how fucked up it was. That is so meaningful. And thank God for women. Thank God for friendships with other women, being able to connect with and be supported by and defended by women that really truly see you and respect you. How beautiful and wonderful that we get to experience that in our lifetime. That is awesome. I love that your friend showed up for you and supported you in that moment because it is deeply fucking shocking when people say shit like that and people reveal themselves as being such fatphobic, hateful losers, despite the fact that they, up until that point, had acted like someone who cared for you and was your friend. And now you know that they are not your friend because friends don't talk to each other like that. And friends don't hold these fucked up, nasty beliefs about each other underneath the surface that randomly bubble up one day like that. How deeply unacceptable to talk to someone like that and how wrong he is about you. How truly wrong he is about you. And I hope that that is the major takeaway from all of this, is that not only was it mean of him to say those things, and not only should he have never talked to you in that way, not only was it wrong for him to say that in an emotional sense, but he's also just factually wrong with what he said to you. It is wrong. It is not based in truth. It is nasty. It is mean. It is untruthful. And to ask someone the question of would I rather have a man who accepts me the way I am or one that would date me when I'm skinny, while placing negative emphasis on the idea of someone accepting you as you are, you have to be like deeply fucked up to look down on the idea of someone that you love accepting you the way that you are. You have to be like deeply troubled as a person to find a way to spin your lover accepting you in a negative light. You have to be deeply fucked up to do that. I just can't imagine it. Like when you ask that question without the negative spin on it, like would you rather someone accept you who you are or like love you with conditions? I'll only love you if you look like this. Would you rather love someone that accepts you in all of your forms, in every version of who you are or what you show up as? Would you rather someone that totally loves and accepts you or someone that only loves you if you fit into a certain fucking box or parameters? The answer is fucking obvious. All of us would choose the person that accepts us as we are. Every single fucking one of us. And if you want to try to spin that in a negative way, in some way, not only are you a fat phobe, but you're also a misogynist. Like, I hate to break this to you. Oh my God. Men discovering they're misogynists every single episode of this podcast. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you look at women that you're dating and you think that they need to fit into a certain box in order to be deserving of love from you, if you think that that is how giving and receiving love works, I hate to break this to you. You are a misogynist. You are a hater ass bitch, okay? I hope no one dates that man. I hope no woman dates him, because how fucking horrible is it to date someone who only wants you if you fit into this very narrow idea of what beauty is, which, by the way, nobody gets to stick in forever. Even if you've somehow magically, you're in the 0.001% of people that have cracked that fucking beauty standard, babe. All right. And you're living in it and you never have to think twice about it. You're not fucking killing yourself over it. Or even if you are killing yourself over it, let's say that you are the percentage of people who you're in your 20s and you fit the beauty standard to a T and your partner's so obsessed with you and everyone is so satisfied with how you have cracked beautiful, okay? You know how to do it. You are an A student when it comes to beauty, okay? Even if you've managed to do that right now in your 20s, do you honest to God think that that's going to last forever? Unless you have tons, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to funnel into changing your appearance constantly as you get older. And what the fuck does that do to your own self-image and self-esteem? Long story short, dating men like that, dating men who see beauty and image and love, the exchange of love in partnership like that, dating someone who views it the way that your friend just exposed that he does is self-harm. Deadass, it is self-harm. Dating someone like that sounds miserable. Miserable. Karma will get him. Karma will get him, and in many ways, karma already has got him, okay? Because clearly his brain is in the trenches all on its own. All on its own is in the trenches, all right? To live in a brain that operates in the way that his is a terror. Something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, though many of my worst enemies are already suffering from this same plight. Karma already has him. Don't worry. He's a fatphobe. He's a misogynist. He just generally seems like a piece of shit. And I'm so sorry that you had to learn about your friend in this way. That's not pleasant. And I totally get what you're saying about like hearing something like this and being able to immediately clock it as like, that's fucking rude. You're a fucking hater. And I don't even think what you're saying is right. But to also still acknowledge that like it has awoken some part of yourself, this voice in the back of your head that you've fought off for your whole life. Sometimes moments like these can trigger us. It triggers a past version of ourselves that then awakes in this moment and is like, see, that thing that I was scared of all throughout my teen years, all throughout my early 20s, this thing, this fear, this insecurity of mine that I always thought was maybe true, this person just said it. They just repeated my insecurity back to me. And now, should I be taking this as proof that he was right somehow? So much of the conversation around dating while plus size is like actually so fucking tired and stupid to me. Obviously, you have a lot of fat people that feel like they can't date until they lose the weight, or that's a restriction they put on themselves. They feel like they can't even open themselves up to the possibility of being loved until they lose that weight. They're convinced that nobody will love them until they lose the weight, which isn't true and never has been true. And then simultaneously, you have formerly fat people that go on tangents about how dating while plus size was so terrible and horrible and people treated them terribly, which in and of itself shouldn't necessarily be the most shocking, though I do think that people sensationalize those stories to get a reaction out of people. I think that perhaps we need to be clocking more often the fact that people get views by preying on other people's insecurities. So, like, is dating while plus size going to be completely empty of any conflict? No, of course not, because fat phobia is real, and we're all very aware of that. It's not like groundbreaking to learn that some people treat fat people shittier for no reason other than they're fat. That's not crazy. That's not groundbreaking. But I do think there are people that really sensationalize it and talk about it in a way that incites fear in other people. And just adds to this narrative of like people fearing their body changing, because if my body changes, then no one's going to love me. And when formerly fat people get online and they're like, it was so terrible and so bad and it was in the trenches and I never want to ever again because I think that's wrong. And I think it, again, fuels the same narrative of, you know, people fearing their body changing in any capacity or thinking that they can only be worthy of love if their body looks one specific way, which isn't true. That's not to say that there aren't shitty people out there that would believe that or that would treat you like that. For sure, there are shitty people everywhere. Your friend being an example of this type of mindset, this type of behavior. These people are real. They exist. We've all encountered at least one of them in our lives, right? But to think that those people are everyone, or even that those people are the majority, I think is wrong. I think it's just wrong. And here's the thing, even if it was the majority, even if every single living person thought the way that that person thinks, that wouldn't make it right. And that wouldn't make it your cross to bear, or that you had to change to conform to fit what these shitty people think. I think we're allowed to have our own opinions and our own reactions to these people, to look at them and say, you are shallow and fucking mean. And I wouldn't want to be with someone like you. Even if I was thin, even if I looked completely different, I wouldn't want to date someone like you, which is a conclusion that I'm not sure why more people don't come to, especially formerly fat people. Because I'm like, why would you want to date someone who would like shit on and abuse your past self? I don't know. Some people do not feel as protective of their past selves as I do, which has always perplexed me, because I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't want to date an asshole no matter what I looked like. And I do care that the people I date are kind to people who have lived lives that are totally different to what mine looks like. Just because my partner is nice to me, that doesn't count for everything. I want my partner to be nice to everyone. So even if I was a thin person, I still wouldn't date a fat phobe, because I'm not a freak that approves of my partner being a fucking hateful loser. You know what I mean? Like, it just has never made sense to me. I'm like, why do I give a fuck? I know that these people exist. I know that these terrible, horrible people are all out here. It's not shocking. We know fat phobia is real. However, no matter what I looked like, I would not want to date that person. So why does it matter that they're not attracted to me? Because no matter what I looked like, I wouldn't like them. And I think my opinion matters more here. Why do I give a fuck about appealing to these people that I don't actually care about? But the thing is that I think a lot of time, because growing up plus size, all of these messages are sort of drilled into your head by the media, maybe the way that you were treated growing up, if you were bullied in school. You learn about your body and about how people are going to treat you and respect you because of what you look like. And then you spend a lot of your adult life trying to unlearn those things and build up the confidence that you weren't able to build during your teen years. But I think a lot of times part of the experience of growing up fat is you end up subconsciously starting to seek validation from everyone and to value the opinions that other people have of you over the opinions that you have of them. It's the same way like in dating. I think a lot of people, no matter what your body size, ends up walking into this trap of like going on dates and being like, oh my God, do they like me? Do they like me? Do they like me? Without ever questioning if you like them. And we get into these like cycles where we're just constantly seeking the validation and approval and desire from other people when we're not even stopping to ask ourselves if they are people that we want or that we would even respect the opinion of in the first place. And I think it is so great that you're able to identify when it's that insecurity voice talking and when it's actually your own. Because I think identifying the difference and being able to call out when it's your insecurity speaking, this voice in the back of your head, when it's that versus when it's something you should actually take to heart. Because honestly, I feel like for a lot of people, that is the hardest part. Another thing is that I think that we will often project our insecurities onto our dating lives as being the reasons why things aren't working out for us. And if only this one thing was different, we would have a totally different experience. When in reality, I don't think that's true. Looking at my own dating experiences, have I had a lot of shitty dating experiences? For sure. I've talked about a lot of them on this podcast. But when I talk to my thin friends, they have all the same stories to tell me. And there's a version of myself where I could have let my insecurities paint the story of like the reason why I've had these negative experiences in dating is because I'm plus size and because, you know, men are only going to treat me like XYZ unless I look different. And if I looked different, then they would respect me and I would have this fairy tale romance and I would be treated tenderly and all these things that I want and yearn for. I would have them if only my body was just a little bit different. And these are the stories that we tell ourselves. But I don't know that they're true. In fact, I know that they're not true because we can't all be telling ourselves this story. No matter what you look like, no matter who you are, we all tell ourselves this story of like, if only I was just incrementally different, then I would have this thing that I want to have and don't have. And that's not to say that there aren't unique difficulties in dating as a plus size person. Of course there are. But as I said, the people that are bringing up those issues are often not people we would want to date in the first place. And in general, no matter what your body looks like, we're all sort of suffering in dating. I don't know a damn person who woke up one day and has had the perfect dating life where they've never encountered any losers and they've just, you know, it's been completely smooth sailing. They woke up on day one and they were treated tenderly and appreciated to the fullest extent and they're with someone that totally respects and loves them and they've never in their lives had a bad experience dating. I don't know a single person where that is their truth. You know? So I don't want to write off or, you know, dismiss the fact that there are unique challenges and things that pop up when dating as a plus size person. Obviously, fat phobia is extremely real. And I've had dating experiences that were bad for, you know, a myriad of reasons. Some being because, you know, these guys treated me a certain way because of my body. Absolutely. But are those all of my dating experiences? No. I've had plenty of positive experiences too. So while I don't want to dismiss the fact that there are definitely, you know, unique issues that come up while dating as a plus size person, fat phobia is real. Sometimes it comes up in dating, 100%. But to believe that if we just changed this one thing about ourselves, that we would have access to this kind of love and tenderness that we don't currently have access to, I think that is an incorrect assessment. You know, we have access to that love and that tenderness and that sweetness right now. There are plenty of people out there in this world that would love us the way we are right now. The journey to finding those people that you overlap with in every single which way is a hard one. It's a process for all of us. Famously, most of us have some criticisms for our dating lives and the things we've experienced throughout it. These things aren't exclusive to plus size people. I don't know if that's helpful for you, but it is for me to really remind myself that like this story that sometimes we tell ourselves about how our insecurities are like the roots of evil in our own lives. And like this thing about me, if only it was different, then my whole life would be different. That is rarely, if ever, true. And most of the time we can prove that wrong simply by looking at the people around us. Is that true for other people that you know? Would you say that to other people that you know? Do you know other people that struggle with the same thing that you struggle with, but within a completely different set of circumstances? Because all of my thin friends also have had bad dating experiences. So what's the reason there? All of these people in my life, no matter what their body looks like, all of these beautiful, wonderful, smart, brilliant, loving, thoughtful women having the same conflicts in dating. Is it possible that this is hard across the board and it's not because there is some like unspeakable flaw within us that only if we change we'll get to experience this secret, you know, lovely relationship that only a certain group is allowed to have? I don't think that's true, but I understand your frustration. And I understand the feeling of like sleeping with your nemesis. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day about how like I think being so far removed from my negative dating experiences has truly brought me like so much peace. Like I haven't had a bad dating experience since college, really. Since before my year of no dating, pre-pandemic. It's 2025 now. 2020, that's 5 years since I've had a bad dating experience. Things haven't worked out in the last 5 years. I've gone on dates with people where just, you know, we weren't a fit, we weren't a match. But there's been nothing that knocked my confidence in dating in the last 5 years. And that has been awesome to just get older and get farther and farther away from the moments that really knocked my confidence as I was coming into this version of myself. And I think that is true about me for a few reasons, a lot of which I've already discussed on this podcast. But I think because I have such distance from the things in my life, the moments in my dating that really knocked my confidence, I'm able to now look at my dating life with sort of fresh eyes. And also because I don't feel any pressure to figure it out right now. And because I don't feel the need to hang around with people, anyone, men, women, whoever, that don't totally see me and appreciate me for who I am 100%. Like, it just doesn't matter to me that much. I'm not scrambling in search of a partner anymore. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I know what I bring to the table. I am beautiful and I am sexy and I am a damn good time. All right. And also, I'm smart and I'm passionate and I'm driven and I'm successful and I'm thoughtful and I'm emotional and I'm vulnerable and I'm brave. I'm so many other wonderful characteristics that anyone would be lucky to have in a partner. I don't need these random fuck-ass dudes to want me in order to know that. Every man I come across for the rest of my life could look at me and say, ugh, she's the worst. And it wouldn't bother me. And I would look at them and go, your loss. I know something that you don't know. And God, it sucks that you don't know it. It's like I have access to a secret, right? I know how awesome it would be to be loved by me. I know this. I feel confident in it. I feel confident in what I bring to the table. I'm not concerned with whether or not these random dudes want me or not. Do I want them? Most of the time, no. So, to me, it's sort of like I don't need to appeal to everyone. I don't even want to appeal to everyone. I don't need to be understood or desired by every single person. That's not my goal. That's not my MO. I'm looking for someone that totally fucking sees me and gets me and loves me as I am today, but also could have loved me 5 years ago, could have loved me 10 years ago, could love me 5-10 years from now. I'm looking for a kind of love that these people truly will never experience in their lives. So if they don't get it, that's okay. And again, I don't know if this is helpful, to you. I don't know. This is just what works for me, or I guess how my mindset is. And I do feel like the more far removed I've gotten from my negative dating experiences, the easier it's been to like really believe this shit and like adopt it into my life. The more I know this is fucking corny and it's annoying. I get it. But also this is something that rings true for me. But I think the more that I have poured into other corners of my life, the more I've poured into my career, my home, being independent, the more I've poured into my friendships, my community, my families, fostering kittens, learning new things, trying new hobbies, the more I have indulged in creating a life that I am really proud of and think is awesome. One that like, I think that someone would be lucky to be invited into for so many reasons. And I think the more I've focused on that, in living a beautiful life, doing things that inspire me, being creative, and just pouring into my own community, the life that someday I will share with another person in an intimate way, the more I've poured into that, I also think the less I've cared about appealing to every single person or being desired by loads of people. I don't care about that. And I'm not really attracted to people who place that as a high value on their list. And maybe that's not a common way to feel. I don't know if it is or isn't. I don't really care though, because that's how I live and that's how I feel. And I don't want to be with someone who behaves like that. No matter what I looked like, I would not want to be with someone who behaves like that. So, sort of neither here nor there, you know? Even if I could snap my fingers and be a totally different person, if I could erase all my insecurities, if I could morph my body to be something totally different, I still would not fuck with people like that. And maybe that's uncommon. I don't know. I don't care though, because I'm not compromising that standard. No matter what. I don't want to be with those fucking losers. I think they're fucking losers. If other people want to date fucking losers, they can date those fucking losers. I'm not going to date them though. So I don't care that they don't want to date me. You know? Sort of rambling, sort of just throwing all of my thoughts at the wall here. I deeply understand what you're feeling. And I think that you should feel really proud of the work that you've done to get to a point where you're able to identify it as your insecurities and be like, it brought something up for me, but I still know that bitch is wrong. You know? And now I'm struggling with trying to silence this insecurity. And I think that's just real. And that's part of the process and part of the journey. And even though I feel like I'm in a much better place now than I was, 5 years ago, that's not to say that I'm not sometimes triggered by my own insecurities as well. I think it's just part of it all, part of being a human. So I think you should be really proud of yourself for the work that you've done and the progress you've made in building up your self-confidence. I think you actually might have higher self-confidence than you think you do. And I'm so sorry your friend spoke to you like that. Deeply. It is totally inexcusable and deeply fucked up. And I hope that you're able to surround yourself with people like your friend who stood up for you, who validate what a fucked up, terrible thing that was for them to say to you. And I hope that being surrounded by that kind of community can bring you great amounts of healing. But it's okay that you're hurt by that. And it's okay that it's bringing stuff up for you. And just because those thoughts are being awoken because of this incident doesn't make them true. Doesn't make them rooted in truth. Doesn't make them even close to being true. And I empathize deeply with your desire for this tenderness, to have someone be just totally about you and to give you this like sweet, precious, fairy tale type love that we all dream of, that I dream of all the time, constantly. And there was a period in my life where I was really bothered by the fact that I hadn't experienced that yet. And I searched for reasons within myself, things that I could pinpoint it on. The reason why I haven't experienced this is because I'm too this, I'm too that. If only I changed this, I changed that, then maybe I would have this. I get it. It's hard not to do that. And also, Just because our brains are capable of going into that thought spiral doesn't make it like rooted in any kind of truth. You do deserve a soft, tender, sweet love, and I am confident that the right person will find you. You will find them, and it will all work out the way it's meant to work out. I think sometimes it's better not to question why things aren't working out for you the way you've seen them work out for other people, and just accept that your story is going to be different, and that's okay, and it's going to be just as wonderful in a totally different way. I thought about this a lot when I was, in high school and college, because for a while I was upset that I hadn't had any dating experiences when I was in high school. And I was sad I didn't get invited to prom. No one ever asked me. I missed out on all these life experiences, this like innocent, juvenile teenage love. There was a time in my life where I was really upset that I missed out on that. And then I went to college, and I had obviously many chaotic dating experiences in college. And then after that, it was like, looking at friends of mine that maybe met partners in college or had different experiences than me, looking at them being like, why couldn't that have been me? Why couldn't that have been how my story went? Why is it that I had to go through XYZ and deal with this pain that I have as a result of this? And, just missing out on the sweetness and tenderness and being like, why? Why is it that I don't get to have that, but these people did? And I think it's natural to have thoughts like that, particularly within the context of dating when it's like so pushed down our throats. So yeah, I didn't have whirlwind teenage romance. I wasn't asked to prom. I spent a lot of college experimenting with a lot of men who were so wrong for me and just generally being underappreciated. But I sometimes just feel like if we were able to look at our lives from a bird's eye view, if you talk to me 50 years from now, if I look back on all of this and say it all worked out the way it was meant to, because being single all throughout my high school years allowed me to get to know myself on a deeper level, maybe younger than other people did. It allowed me to indulge in myself and my creativity. It allowed me to go off and move to New York without the baggage of a teenage relationship coming with me. My experiences in college let me learn so much about myself, and I went through a lot, some of which I wouldn't choose to relive, right? But I do think I gained a lot of wisdom from going through those things, and it pushed me into therapy, and it gave me things to talk about online, and look what's happened because of that. I've grown a community because of that. I think, my lack of this relationship in my 20s thus far has allowed me to really build a stable life for myself. It's allowed me to really focus on building up my friendships and focusing on that kind of community, to pour into my solo time. I've been able to travel by myself. And, there's so many things that I've been able to do because I had this extra time and space to dedicate to myself. And that's not to say that I couldn't also be doing wonderful, amazing things if I was in this, tender, amazing relationship. Obviously, being in a relationship with someone offers its own different kind of, learnings and benefits and change and self-growth that happens. However, I think that in a lot of ways, these things being lacking from my life, if I look at it all bird's eye view, I actually think it's a good thing. Even now, looking back at myself in high school, I think it's a great thing that I never dated anyone in high school. I didn't think that at the time. I didn't think that in college even. But now looking back, I think it actually helped my growth as a person a lot. And I think about this in so many sections of my life, even looking at like my career and how I made YouTube videos for 11 years before anything kicked off for me. 11 years before anything kicked off. 12 before I did it full time, or 11 and a half, technically. And there were so many times throughout that where I was so frustrated and so upset and got so discouraged. And looking back at all of it now, I think it played out exactly the way it was meant to. I went through college. I got a degree. I had 2 real big girl jobs, working, desk jobs post college. And I think getting that experience in the industry And I think getting that experience, having my degree and also having 2 real life job experiences before working for myself, I think that gave me necessary perspective and experience that now makes me a better business owner, that makes me a more skilled entrepreneur, that allows me to show up in my current job better. It allowed me time to develop my creative style and passion, and also allowed me to get good at dedicating myself to something without this immediate affirmation and praise. I don't need those things in order to continue creating now. I never learned that, the audience applause was the thing to strive for. For so many years, I did this without that. And at the time, I just wanted to be a YouTuber. I wanted to be able to create this and have people watch it and love it. And I got so frustrated that it wasn't happening on the timeline that I wanted it to happen at. But looking back at it now, it's better that it worked out the way that it did, because I think I am better because of it. I'm better for it. And I think now I just sort of see my dating life in a similar way. I think it will work out the way that it's meant to work out. And I think when it does, and, at the end of my life, when I'm looking back at everything, I really believe it'll all make sense to me. Why things shook out the way that it did. That doesn't mean that everything's perfect or that no bad things or wrong turns ever occur, right? But I just think that you end up where you're meant to be no matter what. And maybe this is me getting a little bit spiritual, but that is how I feel when I think about it. So anyways, I hope that something I said was meaningful to you. I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, talking about lots of different things all at once, but that is how my brain sorts it all out when I think about it in the context of my own life, because I have similar insecurities to you. 100% I do. And sometimes they come up. You just got to get good at calling them out, which it seems like you are. And then sort of reshaping and slowly changing your beliefs about yourself and how lovable you are and all of those things over time. And it is possible. It just takes work. Hi, Maddie. I've been a viewer for almost 4 years now, and I love your perspectives on love, dating, and romance. I know you've shared your hatred for the way people give dating advice on TikTok and wanted to know your thoughts on how marriage is discussed online presently. For context, my boyfriend and I just hit 5 years, but we didn't even discuss marriage until last year. We've only been living together for a year and a half. Compared to most people, we've moved pretty slow, and because I have a lot of trauma around the idea of marriage, my dad has been married at least 4 times, engaged even more, and is generally an awful person who can't be alone. I'm so happy I have someone who has similar ideas to me, but it pisses me off how the world seems to have regressed in their ideas of marriage. I'm talking about people saying if your boyfriend hasn't proposed after 2 years, he's a piece of shit. Men should pay for everything, and if you have an equal partnership, your man is a piece of shit. If you wait to get married, you'll be decrepit when you have kids. My mom had my sister and me at 38, but whatever. Etc. Basically turning marriage into a game rather than a partnership. Maybe I see more of this content because I'm in a long-term relationship, and that's why it bothers me so much, especially since I've encountered people IRL with these beliefs. I know some of this advice comes from a place of hurt for some women, but I think it can be dangerous. If you've seen any of this content, what are your thoughts and perspectives on it? Yeah, I totally agree. I think that a lot of this content fits into the category of just reductive, totally void of any nuance short form that gets passed around and perhaps spread more wildly because it is in some parts rage bait. Though I think a lot of people do hold sort of regressive opinions and shit like that, I also think it's worth noting that a lot of these creators are aware that it's an inflammatory subject. When people have these hard and fast takes, or even when they just say something insane, if your man hasn't put a ring on it by the time you hit 2 years, break up with him, that gets views on the algorithm because people have such intense reactions to it. So I think in part, yes, criticize the people that are making this content, and also don't take it 100% to heart, because a lot of it is just people playing into the fact that they know the algorithm will pick that up and it'll blow up because so many people have very passionate reactions to topics like this. With that being said, are there people who just genuinely believe shit like this? Yeah, for sure. And again, I think that it's like a really reductive way to view relationships. And ultimately, Mango, again, she's wiping my brain right now. I'm trying to talk and she does this, and I'm like slowly losing all thoughts that are inside my head. Hold on. Honey bun, I love you so much. Can we relax? I love you so much. Please calm down. What the fuck was I saying? Right. So, yes, there are some people that genuinely believe those things, that are like genuinely being so dead ass when they're like, if you don't have an engagement within 2 years of dating someone, break up with them. I'm sure there are genuinely people out there that believe shit like that. Most of the time, I do think they're just baiting people on purpose. But to the people out there that genuinely have takes like that are totally lacking any kind of nuance or perspective on like each individual relationship and what is best for that relationship, I fear that people with takes like that, they kind of get their own karma, because that's how you end up with someone who's wrong for you. That's like literally the formula for ending up with the wrong person. Choosing to forego living through the relationship and loving someone and figuring out what timelines work for you guys as a couple, versus being like, I need this on this day, and if not, I will break up with you. Like, that is how you end up with the wrong person, because you're acting pressed for time for some reason. You know, like I just think that a lot of these like made up timelines that people have, they convince themselves that those made up timelines are serving themselves, when actually I think in the long run those timelines will be their karma because that's how you end up with the wrong person. That is absolutely how you end up with the wrong person. Any reductive one size fits all advice like that, it leaves so little room for like the complexities of the human experience in being in the true partnership with another person. I don't know if you can tell by my attitude in response to this question, but I find these people quite goofy. Like I think both sides of people are goofy. The people that do it for rage bait purposes are goofy, and also the people that genuinely believe that shit are goofy. Because to me, it feels quite obvious that they are like setting themselves up for disaster, but they seem to think that it's like, well, I'm not going to end up with a loser who won't propose to me because I make them propose to me by the time we hit 2 years. When it's like the perfect guy for you, like more appropriate timeline for your relationship could be 4 years, could be 5 years, could be 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, whatever it is. The perfect person for you could be on a slightly different timeline. And that could have been what made the most sense for your relationship. But you've let these ideas get inside your head of like, if this person doesn't do it by this day, it means they don't love me. And you've not identified that as being like an insecurity that's been planted in your head. And now you're going to live by that insecurity, and it's going to be your downfall. And you don't even realize it. You do not even realize it. If they're being serious about it, I think a lot of it is just like a defense mechanism. Maybe they've been in a relationship with someone who really didn't value them or value their time. Their relationship wasn't progressing at all, and this person showed like little to no effort in trying to help the relationship progress. Maybe there's like, you know, lore and context to inform why they're so quick to be like, if he doesn't do it by this day, kick him to the curb, because they felt like they had their time wasted in the past. But ultimately, I do think having like a hard and fast reaction following an event like that, like I think it always leads to disaster, unfortunately. Like, that is how you end up with someone that's not right for you. There's no like right or wrong timeline for a relationship, you know? Whatever works for the both of you works for the both of you. Obviously, if you and your partner are on different timelines, you're not on the same page. That's a totally separate conversation. But like, you and your partner are on the same page. You're enjoying life together, you know, moving at your own speed. You moved in together a year and a half ago, been together 5 years. Bliss. You know, like the rush to get married is something I'll never understand, really. My friends and I joke constantly that anybody that gets married in their 20s is a child bride. And I do believe that. And I'm half joking to all my child brides watching this. But you are a child bride to me. And I love that for you. I love that some of you are child brides, but like you're a child bride. You know, like we're all on our own timelines. And I wouldn't listen to stuff like that or take it to heart, because really I do think the vast majority of it is rage bait. And people just know that it gets views. I think we should all be more aware of what people do on the internet specifically to get views. You know, because there are a lot of people who do a lot of things that are pretty substanceless and dumb, and they just do it to get a reaction out of people or to prey on people's insecurities. And I think that we would all be served by getting really good at clocking that. I'm going to throw it on over to the post show over on Patreon. I'm going to look through Grammy's red carpet fashion, because I saw a lot that I need to discuss. In fact, I saw one couple doing what can only be described as a humiliation ritual in front of all of us. So I'd like to discuss some things, and I will be doing that over on the Patreon. So if you're interested in discussing Grammy's fashion, go on, join us over on the Patreon. Go join the Lover Girls Discord. We did our first live stream last night, and it was so much fun. So come on over if you're interested. Love you so much. I'll see you next week.